What's going on, America? Welcome back to another broadcast of Break the Chains Media. I'm your host, Corey. Today is January 26th, 2021, and we are going to start talking real quick about the Wu Flumerang. That's the word I'm calling all the stuff that happened in the last year that originated in China, if you know what I mean. The Wu Flumerang. Okay, so that's the word to get past all the stuff on YouTube. And we'll talk a little bit about Dr. Fauci and all the money he's raking in the next year and the year prior and all the upcoming, and how we can praise Dr. Fauci in all of his glory. We'll talk about how governors and state officials are talking about reopening the states and reopening the cities because, you know, now that we have a new president, everything's better, right? We can just go back to our normal lives because last year was the worst year of our lives and everything was terrible. But now everything's better because, you know, former Vice President Biden is sitting in the White House. So that's a thing. We're going to keep rolling with that. And we're going to see why all of this is happening now and what it's going to lead to as far as a vision for the future, okay? So I like that you're here. If you guys like this kind of content, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share this with your friends. I'm on BitChute, I'm on Minds, I'm on Gab, I'm on Rumble, I'm on a lot of alt-tech platforms. I'd love to see you guys there. So if you're following me on YouTube, I'm going to keep doing this as long as YouTube will get through, and I'll be able to get through all my information I can on YouTube. Use the platform while you can. While the ship's sinking, I guess I'm going to ride it on out into the sunset, okay? So we're going to be doing that here on YouTube. But I just wanted to show you a funny little tweet going right into former Vice President Joe Biden, what he was speaking about the Wu Flumerang and how he was talking about certain things a few months back and how he is responded to it today. So I've got a little picture to show you here. We are 8 months into this pandemic, and Donald Trump still doesn't have a plan to get this virus under control. I do. That was October 15th, 2020. Okay? Washington Examiner a few days ago. I think I actually have this article pulled up. I'm going to show you. Joe Biden, there is nothing we can do to change the trajectory of the pandemic in the next several months. So, Grandpa Joe, what was your plan? You said you had a plan. A few months back, you said you had it. So where is it? Because apparently there's nothing we can do now to change the trajectory of this virus. It's just on its course, and there's nothing we can do about it, right? So please fill me in, Grandpa Joe. Tell me all about your plan, right? Tell me all about your plan. Okay, I like to see that. But yeah, this is the article. I don't know if this is actually from the Epoch Times, but Biden. There's nothing we can do to change the trajectory. The Wu Flumerang is the disease caused by the CCP, and it's a novel form of sickness. This disease has contributed to the deaths of some 400,000 Americans in the past year, according to the federal health data. And that is as accurate as we can believe it is, because while those numbers are very high and very dangerous, no one talks about heart disease. No one talks about obesity. This actually in 2020, 2021, current stats right now are saying that we have the lowest recorded rates for the common flu. So just take that in consideration. So I have my own speculation on where the numbers are coming from and how they're extrapolating certain data and putting it into certain other stats. And if you haven't noticed, if you haven't checked on major mainstream media outlets, they've suddenly gotten rid of their Wu Flumerang tickers. All of the tickers that were constantly in your face and blasting the numbers and saying the danger is here, the danger is present, stay in your homes. Oh my gosh, current death rates, total death rates worldwide. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. All those are gone now that we have former Vice President Joe Biden in the White House sitting there. And I'm going to keep calling him that because more and more evidence leads to he is the former Vice President of America. I do not wish to use the current title that some people like to use. So we're gonna stick with former Vice President Biden. But so harsh measures were imposed by the majority of the governors across the country to curb the spread of the Wu Flumerang, leading to the crippling job losses and wave of businesses shutting down. For the entire year, you all lived through it. We've all lived through it, and we're still living through it. how people have responded to this crisis. And it's pretty apparent if you got two brain cells to rub together, you can see where it came from. You can see the trajectory. You can, in the initial months of 2020, you had people upwards of February and March speaking that it's safe. You can go out. You can celebrate the Chinese New Year. You can go celebrate and do all these things. And next thing you know, 100% shutdown, 100% lockdown. I remember working on March 15th. And then 2 days later, when it was supposed to be St. Patrick's Day, everything was closed. Everything was closed. And I have not worked since. That is one of the reasons why I'm sitting here talking to you, so I can pull some, maybe some future business prospects. We'll see, but I don't know. I'm just here trying to give you the information, right? So this article is basically saying that there's nothing we can do. We're just going to keep chugging along. We're going to push out these vaccines. We're going to keep doing the thing. You know, the thing, right? It's the thing, right? So yeah, we're just going to keep doing the thing. Okay. So yeah, so we're going to keep doing that, and yeah, so we're going to jump over to Dr. Fauci. Some information about Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci backed a controversial Wuhan lab with the U.S. dollars for risky coronavirus research. This was written on April 28th, 2020, where he's speaking about, advisor to Donald Trump. But just last year, National Institute for Allergy and Infectious Diseases, the organization led by Dr. Fauci, funded scientists at the Wuhan Institute for Virology and other institutions for work on gain-of-function research on bat Wuflumerangs, right? So in 2019, the National Institute of Health had committed $3.7 million over 6 years for research that including some gain-of-function work. And essentially what gain-of-function work is how this particular strain is causing the crisis that we're living through, okay? But gain of function is how that spreads from certain animal types to different animal types, okay? So it began in 2014 and watched how these strains moved from one type of basically, they were emulating how it spread within the wild in a controlled environment. Okay, so they use it on many different animals. We use different S protein sequencing data to infectious clone technology, in vitro and in vivo infections experiments. Analysts, all this, a lot of scientific stuff in this Newsweek article. But in layman's terms, the spillover potential refers to the ability of the virus to jump from animals to humans, which requires that the virus is able to attach to receptors in the cells of humans. This is all the gain-of-function research that they were studying since 2014 that Dr. Fauci used $3.7 million of research funding from the United States, from government money, to fund this type of research. It was actually later, there was a, let me see if I can find it here. There was a moratorium to stop that kind of work, but in early 2019, it actually the moratorium ended, so they were able to do some more research on it. But this just shows you that this type of Wuflumerang sickness has been building up in that province of communist China. Okay, and I just wanted to point that out. And back in January 11th of 2017, Fauci, no doubt Trump will face a surprise infectious disease outbreak. I don't know. Some people might have heard this article before. Some people might have not. However, it comes to no surprise. Dr. Anthony Fauci quoted. You can find the video and the quotes on the webs. The history of the last 32 years that I have been in the director of NIAID will tell the next administration that there is no doubt that they will be faced with the challenges that the predecessors were faced with, he said. While observers have speculated since his election about how Trump will respond to such challenges, Fauci and other health experts said Tuesday that preventing disease pandemics often starts overseas, and there's proper response means collaboration with not only the U.S. and other countries, but also the public and private health sectors. We will definitely get a surprise in the next few years, Dr. Fauci said. Risks have never been higher, okay? So, putting that bit of knowledge in your brain. January 2017, this article was written. Okay, that's a whole 2 years before any of this stuff emerged into the public knowledge. Okay. Meanwhile, news today, breaking news. Dr. Anthony Fauci, the highest paid employee in the entire U.S. federal government. What a coinky-dink. You know? It's just, you can't make this stuff up, folks, okay? Dr. Anthony Fauci made $417,000 in 2019, the latest year for which federal salaries are available, okay? And if you extrapolate for the up until from 2019 through 2024, okay, $2.5 million. That's how much Dr. Fauci will make in a salary from 2019 to 2024 if he stays in his post through the end of the current administration. Okay, $2.5 million this guy makes. Talk about a return on investments. Okay, he puts a little, he's been working his whole life. He puts a little money away into some research in a lab somewhere in China, and he gets $2.5 million because he tells us one thing and delivers another, then retracts on what he says earlier, then spits out another thing, and then he gets promotions. He gets paid higher. He gets paid more money. He got paid more money than Vice President Mike Pence. Vice President's salary is $235,000. Okay, he made $417,000. Okay. Nancy Pelosi made $223,000. Okay, you can just keep going on. John Roberts will make $270,000. Chief Justice. Okay, he made almost double what they made. All right, so yeah, you can say that he's doing an important job and he's making science is the oh my gosh, science. We can't do anything without the word of science. Okay, this dude hasn't worked as a doctor in almost 35 years. He's been advising people what to do. He's a paper writer and an article pusher. He studies. He's a book reader. All bookworm. Okay, he's not in the field doing what real medical doctors do and real emergency doctors do and surgeons and all these things. It's all theory. He's all learning stuff. He's all reading stuff. Okay, it's all in theory. Okay, throwing money to foreign countries. All right, give me a break, folks. Give me a break. Okay, and then to push forward on this whole movement, okay? California lifts regional stay-at-home orders, announced changes in vaccine eligibility stages soon, okay? Ever since former Vice President Joe Biden gets in office, everyone suddenly changes their tone. It's so strange how that happens, right? It's like some people would expect this, but I mean, really though, in a matter of what, 50 hours, 60 hours of Biden taking seat in the White House, people now we need to open up, folks. We gotta open up. We gotta relook our lockdown measures. You know, California health officials have lifted regional stay-at-home orders for including San Joaquin Valley, Southern California, the Bay Area, where ICU capacities still remain under 15%, folks. ICU capacities remain under 15% in California. Okay, during a normal winter, they're probably twice as high, if not 3 times higher than that. So you tell me what's going on. Okay. In a press release, the health officials say that the project in the next 4 weeks, ICU capacities in 3 regions was expected to reach about 15%. Statewide, the ICU capacity rate projected for February 21st had the Southern California at 33.5%. Joaquin 22 and Bay Area 25, Greater Sacramento and Northern California 27.3. Okay, each region is a little different, but what it comes down to, their numbers that they were worried about is not where it is. Okay, everybody's got stats and numbers and color coding and data and all this stuff to keep us in a state of fear. Okay, it's what it comes down to. The fear will lead us to our doom. Okay, blind faith. I don't know if you guys have ever listened to that band, but you know, blind faith. It's really telling to watch people follow something blindly, to be led to slaughter like lambs, right? Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot wants to begin reopening restaurants for indoor dining. This was January 14th this year. Okay, it's 3 months of indoor dining. It's a 3 month of an indoor dining ban for Illinois. While some restaurants have found success in takeout, many other closed permanently. My local area, some of the restaurants I've loved are closed and they're never coming back because the lockdowns, they're unsustainable. I mean, I worked in the restaurant industry for 12 years. We are still closed to this day because our type of restaurant is an unsustainable takeout order type restaurant. We thrive on large businesses or large parties, big events, bachelorette parties, birthday parties, that kind of thing, you name it. And we haven't opened because that we rely on tourism, we rely on busybodies moving in and out. Okay, big inner city communication, and this whole thing is shifting. We're moving towards an end goal, and I'm going to get that article here in just a second. But the end goal, okay, this is what we're talking about. What is the end goal? And I'm going to show you here in just a sec. But Lori Lightfoot's talking about, oh yeah, because restaurants and businesses and bars have a high standard of cleanliness. So that's what we need to. They're clean and sanitary, so we should open them because they have strong protocols. Okay, give me a break. You were closed for entirely last year, killing the Trump's economy and what we had going in 2020. Okay, or 2019. 2020 is a lost cause. But this is the most important part, and this is what this whole thing is getting towards. New York Times article written by January 4th, 2021. This is even before the inauguration. In a topsy-turvy pandemic world, China offers its version of freedom. Okay? Now hear this. This is one of the most disgusting articles I've ever read. It's praising China. It's praising communist practices. It's praising authoritarian measures. And they're saying basically because China was so strict and they have their population in complete Orwellian government control, they were able to stop the virus. They were able to curb it, and their numbers have completely dropped while ours are still growing. Well, first of all, are you really going to believe communist information? I mean, that in itself is a joke. Do you want to talk about communist information being pro party? Okay, their numbers aren't going to be accurate to tell you that. Second thing is, even if let's say they are accurate, did you see what they were doing in the first stages of this pandemic? They were welding people's doors shut. They were pulling people out of homes. They were filling semi trucks full of bodies. Okay, that's at least what was on TV because it was scary. So I'm not even sure if those are verifiable. That's evidence, but that's what we saw, right? But yeah, this article talks about how China, but when this guy was traveling, he traveled to China and returned to, but when he returned in October, he felt something new, safe, energized, and free. The ability to just live a normal life is pretty amazing, he said. While many countries are still reeling from the Wu Flumerang, China, where the pandemic originated, had become one of the safest places in the world. The country reported fewer than 100,000 infections for all of 2020. Wow, who'd have thought? Who'd have thought? United States has been reporting more than that every single day since early November. Okay. China resembles what normal was like in the pre-pandemic world. Restaurants are packed, hotels are full, long lines are luxury brand stores. Instead of Zoom calls, people are meeting face-to-face, talking business, or celebrating the new year. The country will only be a major economic to have. The country will be the only major economy to have growth this past year. Is that just a coincidence? I think not. We're talking about the Great Reset, folks. We're talking about how China is going to be pushing their economic control over the world. Okay, this whole article I threw up more than a little bit reading this article. Okay. The pandemic upended many perceptions, including ideas about freedom. Citizens in China don't have freedom of speech, freedom of worship, or freedom from fear. 3 of the 4 freedoms articulated by President Franklin Roosevelt. But they have the freedom to move around and lead normal day-to-day life. In a pandemic year, many of the world's people would envy this most basic form of freedom. Really? Giving away your freedom for security, you end up with neither. That's another quote, okay? You want to quote Franklin Roosevelt? I got another quote for you, okay? You give away your freedom for security, you end up with neither, okay? The global crisis plant could doubt any other type of freedom. Nearly half of voting Americans, we talk about this, but there was one thing further down here where I wanted to read. Hold on, but yeah, this is. In the year of a pandemic, the Communist Party has provided the public a social good, stability. said Dong Haito, an investor who moved to Beijing from Hong Kong in August. For Mr. Dong, China's success gives him an opportunity to achieve financial independence. Really? In a communist-controlled state. Financial independence. Okay? Sure. All right. I don't think I can find the kind of freedom I want in Hong Kong. Are you serious? Are you serious? Hong Kong, one of the only democratic, outside of Taiwan, democratic-run part of China or in that area. Okay? I don't think I can find the kind of freedom I want in Hong Kong. Give me a break. It isn't clear whether the shift in perception could be sustained after the pandemic ends, but the West may find it has to work harder to sell its vision of freedom after China has made its model seem so attractive. Folks, get with it. Get with the program. They're trying to enforce communist, Orwellian, 24/7 surveillance, monitoring, social credit system on your apps on your phone to make sure you have a vaccine, all this stuff. It's all coming, folks. It's all coming. Okay, I wanted to read like this. China, it feels a bit like the Epcot Center at Disneyland, he said. It's like the microcosm of the West is still here, but the West is shut down at the moment. For Mr. Clark, being in crowds again has taken some getting used to. If you're talking to people in a party or something, you can't just mute somebody if they're annoying. At the first big event he attended, he said he noticed somebody had really had bad breath. Okay, they're making light of all of that. So it's so funny. You don't want to really talk to people in public anymore. You don't want to do that. Give me a break, folks. Listen. I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna wrap up. I'm gonna finish there. But this is where it comes, folks. I just listed off a bunch of articles. I hope you stuck with me through the whole thing. But this is important stuff, folks. They used it. It played right to their game, dude. It played right into their agenda. They used it for all of 2020. They destroyed one of the greatest economies in America. They smeared the current president at the time. They destroyed his name. They not only did they do that with the economic shutdown, but they instilled fear as far as political action and political directions and all these things. And as people grew, for months and months, people were rioting, looting, and all this racial tension and upheaval, social civil unrest. Okay. All of that mixed together in the most chaotic year we've ever lived through in modern times, in my opinion. But this is the move that they're trying to make, folks. They're trying to make us lose our Constitution, lose our Bill of Rights, lose what makes America great. Okay, we have the best means for freedom, justice, liberty, sovereignty. But if you don't stand up, and if we don't make a stand for what is happening right now, and if you're just going to succumb to having an app on your phone with all your medical records and getting shots every 3 months to make sure you don't get the sickness, to make sure you don't get the Wu-flumerang, okay? You lost it all, folks. You've lost it all. So I encourage you to do some. I encourage you to read a little bit more into this and just see what it leads, and see that they're not telling you everything, and there's an agenda at play, and it's called the Great Reset. Okay? If you like what you hear, if you like what you see, if you want to hear more about what I'm talking about, subscribe, like, find me on BitChute, Instagram, I guess, if you want. I don't know. Good luck. But Minds, Gab, Rumble, I'm on them all. Okay? Folks, fight for freedom. We'll see you soon.